not just in our own lives, but everyone's life. I see a lot of people that we're wasting time. Man, we're going to talk about momentum and dust settling, because I think that these are really important things, especially as you're going through seasons.
Yes.
If you stall out. Notice I changed my hat around, by the way, just to let y'all know. Nah, I'm just kidding. Ernest, man, grains, love them. That's how we feed our chickens.
Non-GMO chicken food,
fresh. You know, and then of course I'm up there being. I don't want anything.
When we talk about being silent, sometimes we're driving up. We're driving up, not to put my husband on blast, but
putting me on blast because this is funny.
It's cute, though.
And then I'm sitting there while I'm saying it too.
We're driving up because it's non-GMO, because it's organic, and because Shay found them. And this is our second trip, and we get there, and Shay's like, so like about the corn.
Is it genetically modified?
He's like, what about the corn? Like, is that like, because there are opinions about corn, GMO or not, right? But then, like, the guy's like, yeah, and Shay's like, is your corn,
genetically modified?
Genetically modified. Use GMO. And the guy's like, yeah. And the guy was so humble.
He was humble.
The guy was so chill. While everything around him said non-GMO, this brother was so humble. This is a lesson I need. And he was like, yeah, we're completely organic, natural, non-GMO. He's just like explaining what is on every sign.
Cornfields over there, or
what is every sign saying? That's what he's kindly saying. That's what we need to be, guys. Like this guy at Ernst Livestock.
Is it Ernst? It's not Ernest.
Great. Well,
Ernst.
No, you can call it Ernest if you want.
Ernst.
I
like Ernst.
There's less vowels.
Yo, we on the East Coast. It's Ernst.
Right.
Because we next to Baltimore.
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 But yeah,
right.
So anyway, guys.
Here we are.
Momentum. This is we're more like us right now than we've been in a while. So maybe you'll like that more. I don't know, but who cares?
Oh no, I'm gonna be me. I'm tired of being.
Yeah. If less of you like it, that just makes it easier for us.
If you saw that first episode, I felt like I had to sit here upright with my tie on.
You're so funny.
Because I was being under.
But
yeah.
Momentum. The dust settled. The dust is settled because we're here. There was a lot of dust on this stuff, by the way. And it settled because we had not sat here in a minute. The only one sitting here was our daughter asking when we were going to sit here again.
Isn't that cute? Oh, our 5-year-old wanted us to start recording again.
Yeah. And I think if you were listening to any episodes back, I kept talking about like getting rid of things. You need to get rid of stuff, blah, blah, blah. What was cool about the last 4 months is I was still getting rid of stuff, but I was also getting rid of stuff, right? Like, God used physical stuff to help me exercise getting rid of stuff in life. Mindsets, feelings, things that I shouldn't be doing, or less than that, ways I shouldn't be doing things, and revealing just how much time we have, which is cool because we first started this podcast coming full circle, and then I'm gonna let you talk. But this is exciting.
Come on, let's
go.
Full
circle, okay? We started this podcast because we canceled Netflix because we felt like we weren't doing enough for the Lord, and yet we kept saying we didn't have enough time. And then yet we were saying all this while watching 4 to 5 hours of Netflix every night after our daughter went to bed. And we put the math together and realized we were spending like 21 hours a week watching stuff. And so we realized, hey, we've got time to do this. And that's how this podcast started. And then we had a 4-month hiatus. And I had gotten, it was mostly me again, right? Getting to a point of saying like, we don't have time. Like, you're doing too much. And to some degree, it's not how much we were supposed to be doing, but it was all the little noisy, unnecessary things and ways and habits that were impacting how we did those things. That was robbing us of time.
Isn't that amazing?
Right.
How you adapt.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to waste time on Netflix. Now I'm going to cut Netflix, but now I'm going to waste time and adapt other things that waste my time.
Right. Does
that make any sense? I don't know.
Make it make sense, because he made sense, but make what he said make sense.
In your life, right?
In a way that you should, like, that's not how we should be operating. But again,
and I see that a lot, though. I see that a lot in life because a lot of people go through that. So this is something that's applicable, not just in our own lives, but everyone's life. I see a lot of people that we're wasting time.
Yeah.
Like in momentum. So, okay, you're going through that neighborhood, right? And then they realize that, whoa, during rush hour, this place is like the cut, yo. It's the cut. And you're like, yo, I found the cut. And then all of a sudden, everybody else starts to find out the cut. And then all of a sudden, the city finds out it's a cut. And then they put a bunch of speed bumps in there and stop signs. And now it's no longer, your momentum, you're still moving forward, but you're not moving forward very fast. And then I'm going to carry that over into my dust storm, because I'm sitting here thinking about dust storms in the desert.
Yeah.
Like, so in momentum in the desert, you're moving.
Yeah.
Right? And then all of a sudden, you look up over the horizon and you're like, oh no, that's not good, because you see this big cloud of like sand, and it looks like dust, but it's sand. Oh, no. And you're like, but you're still moving forward. You move forward as much as you can, and then you buckle down, you put your little face piece on, and you don't move, but you're still moving because it's moving over you. Does that make sense? So you're not stopped. I mean, the world hasn't stopped is what I'm saying.
Right.
The world hasn't stopped. And then you're there for a while. You're like, oh, it gets miserable. It's in your eyes. It's in your mouth. It's in everything, especially if you don't have cover. And so all of a sudden you're like, and then it goes. It passes. And the dust settles, right? Mm-hmm. And you continue on in your movement.
Yeah.
And so learning how to continue. Okay, so what? And you could get frustrated with the speed bumps and I do. Yes. I'm like, dang, remember that cut the other night?
I'm still so bitter at what they're doing in our community to the roads. I'm still.
Dude, they have dropped them down to like, you can't drive. Speed limit 0. It's not that bad. But I mean, we've had places that were 45 miles an hour and they've dropped them things down to 25. And I'm just like, and they're putting in all of these. Anyways, we'll leave it there. They're paving the way so that we all just they're going to be like, if you drive your own car, it's going to be 25 miles an hour. And if you have an automated car that you can get shut down by the Antichrist in 20 years, then that car is allowed to drive 90 miles an hour. And then we'll all say, yes to the automatic car. But watch this. In that.
That's my conspiracy
But watch
side.
this. In this, what do we got to trust in?
The Lord.
See, our whole point of momentum is you gotta trust in God.
Exactly.
You've got to trust in God. I really like this because when we think of this tactically, okay, I'll go there for a second.
Yeah.
And my favorite verse, and I haven't used it in a long time, out of Isaiah, because I really like this book of Isaiah. We're actually studying Lamentations right now, and like this is all wrapped in there because this is the portion where they're captive by the Babylonians, right?
Yeah.
And so really, when you get into the latter, like Isaiah 52, you're seeing the victory now. You're so back in our last episode, challenges and all that stuff that we're talking about, challenges and victories, and then keeping that momentum though is good in those, and making sure that you're moving forward in the Lord in the way the Lord wants you to move. It's not like you're sitting there like, okay, I plan my day, but God establishes my steps, right? Proverbs. That's paraphrase, y'all. That's Shay phrase. But what I'm saying is we keep moving in this momentum, right? And so, they were in the worst of everything. Like they were in the worst of everything. When you're reading Lamentations, you're like, wow. Like the prostitutes, they're called prostitutes. They're called all kinds of stuff. And they were in a bad spot. But what's cool about that is, even in that spot, they were moving forward. So even into captivity, they were moving forward to where God wanted to bring them back and restore them. So there's movement. Like the storm is the sandstorm's coming over the top of these guys, and they're buckling down. They're miserable, and dude, it was miserable. Jerusalem was out in shambles. But I like this because in Isaiah 52, it's where it really sums up that we have to have our trust, and that's in God, because it says, "You will not leave in a hurry, running for your lives." Because he's releasing them. Yeah. Understand this. Yeah. Understand where this is at, okay? Yeah. And he says, "For the Lord will go ahead of you. Yes, the God of Israel will protect you from behind." Like, dude, that's like military tactics 101 right there. You got your front point man. You got your rear guard. You sitting in the middle. They're the ones watching everything, making sure, the front's watching for tripwires and all kinds of other, things that could wipe you out. Of course, you're doing your own security, and, it's what it is. But then the rear guard is back there watching your back so no one comes up behind you. And God is saying, look, he's like, you don't have to leave in a hurry because I got you.
Right. Which is kind of like being still and saying nothing, and he's going to fight the battle for you. Yep. Like, you don't have to panic. And, as a mom, sometimes it's a bad habit to tell your kid, like, calm down. It's not a big deal. Because then, like, there is invalidation can be a triggering word because you're like, okay, let's not make everybody softy soft. Okay. Let's not make people think their emotions are king here. But at the same time, you also don't want to make people feel like their emotions don't matter and they need to just shut up and do what you need them to do, or they suck, right? Like, you need to have a balance, a delicate balance. But sometimes your kid reacts to something and you're like, that reaction was up here. And what happened is down here, right? And so you have to find a way to kind of like help them through life to figure out how they can react down here, right? But we are no different, okay?
I was about to say.
Because when we experience something
Yeah.
that we're not used to, that we don't like, we are
We are
that
up here.
4 or 5-year-old kid, and God is looking at us like, hey, your reaction up here. What I'm about to do down here, right? Like, what happened to you is down here. And so that's why it's so important to walk with him. Like, our kids are supposed to walk with us, and we're supposed to model how to like handle things, and we help them learn to manage their emotions and their thoughts. That's what God does for us. He can show us how to manage our emotions and our thoughts so that we walk through reality like, and it's actual reality, because a lot of time we're walking through reality completely diluted. Like, we don't know what the heck reality actually is until we, allow the Lord to show us, because we are walking in completely blind.
Right.
Like, we have low resolution vision. We're half deaf, right? Like, even like we cannot see or wrap our heads around it. And he's outside of time, knowing everything that was, is, and will be. So like, we can keep calm, in or much calmer. I'm not saying that when something terrible happens, you shouldn't feel anything, but the reactions, right? Like, we can slow down and have a moment to handle our reactions and really, perceive it differently. And, when you're thinking about dust settling, the key there is dust. And sometimes we get to a point that in any area of our walk, right? Like, we get to a point where we are convinced the solution is to get rid of all the dust, and the dust is not allowed to settle.
Right.
And we need to suck it up, wipe it away before it lands. And then we become so busy with minutia, right? Little grains of dust, that we don't stop and realize it's okay that like there's dust falling. Like, dust is a part of this. And there's a time to dust, and there's a time to vacuum.
Yep.
And there's a time to dance, and there's a time to sneeze. There's a time for everything. So, preventing the dust is not necessarily the solution. It's almost like the devil might drop that in there to distract you, and that's kind of what was happening with us. And then, especially with the podcast for me, there were a lot of things. And finally, we got to the point, and this is like a marriage thing too, but like I kept being like, we need a batch record. And it was me kind of like, it was like the chirping of the smoke alarm. Like, the battery's low, like, this is because what was I really trying to say? I'm overwhelmed. But was I like saying that? Was I saying, hey, like, the only way I can do this is if we change up how we do this? Instead, like, little, like, and since that wasn't happening, getting really caught up in minutia, like, okay, like, if I do this, I can shave 5 seconds off, and I can shave, and it's like, that wasn't the point, And so that's why I'm in the same shirt again, because we did this in an hour, right? Because that's what works for us.
Right.
And it keeps the momentum of the conversation going, and
keeps
more
us talking.
organic. It keeps us talking.
And honestly, I'm at a point. So on the other side of that, I'm at
Yeah.
a point where, like, even sitting down here today, she's like, wait, but this doesn't really make sense this way and this way. And I'm like, and me, I'm that planner. And I'm like, okay, hold on. What am I going to say? Right? I'm like, I have all these notes. Wait, hold on. And then it's like, okay. And then you get in the flow of things, right?
Yeah.
You're like, okay, she needs this. Let's do this. Let's walk through it. I didn't sit there and say, I cannot do this and put my foot down and stomp. Because you know what? Let me tell you something. When you sit in a dust storm, you don't knock off all the dust.
Right.
It's in your cracks everywhere. It's everywhere, y'all.
Yes.
And you sometimes you'll go back, you'll shower, and you still have that.
It's in your hair
it's
for a long
It's like,
time.
It's like everywhere. But so we sit there, but in this momentum, and I like your analogy with the child, and then with us, right?
Yeah.
Because really, what's cool about that is, if we just shut something down, If we shut someone down, say they're going through something, your friend or your friend's going through something, they shut you down, but however it is, you say, go stand in your corner and just shut up, right? Okay, well, how are they moving forward then?
Yeah.
Right? So it's like, how can we correct or help? Let's use word help, because some people trigger off correction. I love it.
Right.
Because it just makes me better every day. Man, Potter's clay. Come on. He'll smash me down. He'll work me up. I'm like, hey, and I do my way. He goes, let's start again. So, but like just in that sense of, even like when I see it working with my daughter, even working with my wife or working with a friend, right? Allowing them to conversate, allowing them, and is there discipline? Of course there's discipline. Is there correction and spoken correction? Absolutely. But allowing them to have momentum, continue, instead of just throwing up a roadblock, a bunch of speed bumps and a bunch of stop signs. Mm-hmm. But allowing them to come in on board and work with you through it. Mm-hmm. And so helping people along, and you do it in your own life. Look, stop putting up roadblocks in your own life, right? Don't sit there and just say, oh, I failed, I can't do this, and move on. Why don't you say, hey, you know what? I didn't get it right this time. Lord, is this what you really want me to do? And if you really feel like if God doesn't say anything, like give you this beautiful sign, he might still want you to do it, because he usually has a way to stop you.
Right.
Because if he doesn't like what you're doing for him, he's going to stop you.
Egregious things tend to be kiboshed pretty obviously.
So right. And so as we're wrapping this up, right? Yeah. I wanted to go back to Isaiah, because we got to the end of Isaiah 55. But at the beginning, I like what it says. First of all, we got to understand, here comes the cool part, because I love this stuff. I really do. There's 66. They were 66 years in captivity. The Bible has 66 books. Yeah. Isaiah, granted, man came in later and put the chapters, has 66 chapters. Mm-hmm. So obviously we should be listening. There's something here. I'm not going to go into all the numerology and all that stuff. I think there's a term for it, but I'm not going into all that. My point is, on verse 1, he says, wake up. Wake up, O Zion. Wake up, y'all. Wake up. God wants us to keep moving forward, right? Listen, clothe yourself with strength. Put on your beautiful clothes, O holy city of Jerusalem, for unclean and godless people will enter your gates no longer. Oh, come on. I love this. Rise from the dust, O Jerusalem. Sit in a place of honor. Remove the chains of slavery from your neck. O captive daughter of Zion, for this is what the Lord says. When I sold you into exile, I received no payment. Now I can redeem you without having to pay for you. See, that puts a worldly aspect. You can't buy yourself out. You can't get yourself out. God can get you out. Trust in God and keep moving forward.
Amen. Thank you for listening to the Pantry Podcast this week. Remember to like, subscribe, share, comment, all the stuff that helps us get out to more people. We love to hear from you guys, and you can also check out thepantrypodcast.com to see any kind of extras we've managed to put together and get caught up on more episodes. So until next time,
bye.
Bye.